to our October 18th Calaveras County Board of Supervisors special meeting. First, I would like to report out on our last closed session. And we had number one was a public employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, County Administrative Officer Board Action. There was no action taken. This was on our October 11th closed session. Public employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Building Official Board Action, and there was no action taken. Okay. So could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
You need to report out from Thursday's closed session interviews. Need some kind of a report out.
That was a practice run.
Oh, okay. I can report that out.
Okay. It was a closed session regarding.
Do you have the language?
Yeah, it's right in front of you.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Oh. Thank you. Regarding, it was another closed session regarding a public employee pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Health and Human Services Director. And there was no action taken. So now, can we please stand for the pledge? Is that right? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go into public comments. So public comments are any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas. May be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda, unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted time period, the board may immediately move to the regular agenda. If the public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued at the conclusion of the consent agenda in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of the comments to be heard. And so we'll have 3 minutes for public comment this morning. Do I have any public comment?
Good morning. My name is Mary Ellen Sousa. I'm a resident of Mountain Ranch, and I am unable to stay for the whole meeting due to work obligations. It's tough for me to get here, but I did want to let you know that I do appreciate your dealing with the tree issue. It is a real problem in our town and in our county, and I recognize that you're going to be dealing with that later today. I wanted to just take a couple of minutes, though, and update you. I know we're all sick and tired of talking about marijuana. I know I am. But I just want you to not lose sight of the day-to-day impacts on those of us who are living with it literally next door. Quite frankly, I'm also sick and tired of hearing that we always had marijuana grows prior to the Butte fire. I know that. I have friends and neighbors who grew in my town. I know that. It was never a problem. I have within a half a mile in either direction on my road 7 to 10 grows depending on who is counting. They brought obvious difficulties. They've brought obvious problems. I no longer walk down one direction towards the caves because of those problems, the potential for pit bulls to get out of the yard. a lot of people that we don't know and recognize driving too fast, tearing up the roads. There are ongoing issues in my neighborhood. We all know that the Butte fire disrupted life and changed it in ways that no one could have even imagined. But other than the weather, I don't know one single issue that has affected virtually every single person in my town and really in the county as well. I know it affects some of you directly, some of you less directly. But in thinking about this issue, you know, it occurred to me that probably fewer than 15 people, a board, a previous board, and a number of county officials have really determined a course of action for the entire county that's likely to last for decades to come. I don't think we got it right. I think I'm an optimist, so I'm hopeful we can get it right, but it's not right yet. There has not been one positive impact for commercial marijuana grows in my life. Not as the director of a nonprofit organization that serves vulnerable people, not as a friend and neighbor, not as a family member who's trying to help people put their lives back together post-Butte fire.
30 seconds.
I'm really disappointed that for the lack of a real economic plan that considered public input, we have this mess to deal with. I am hoping, no, I'm praying that the emergency ordinance survives the election cycle, so something more thoughtful with teeth to support our sheriff and his team can be put into place. And just as a final comment, I do want to publicly recognize our sheriff. He came into our town on Friday evening, spent 2 hours with citizens on a rainy Friday night, and the fact that he's willing to do that it speaks volumes about his integrity. So thank you for the time. I hope you'll keep the issue in front of you. And now I have to get back to work.
Thanks. Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our regular agenda.
Item 1 is from Public Works to adopt a resolution declaring a local state of emergency for the removal of hazardous trees caused by the Butte fire with the imminent threat of severe winter weather.
So before we do go on from there, is that the proper language for this? Local state of emergency? Okay.
Jeff Krovitz, Public Works Director. Thank you for taking the time to arrange a special meeting so that we can do this in a very, very short time frame. What Public Works Department is asking the board to do is adopt a resolution declaring a local state of emergency for removal of hazardous trees caused by that were either killed or mortally injured by the Butte fire. The local state of emergency is due to imminent upcoming weather, very similar to what we experienced Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the county, and what we anticipate starting from here on out. The 15th was the official state and federal beginning of the wet season. There have been delays in our ability to remove these hazardous trees, even though we are fully ready and we have contractors ready to go. And this resolution will allow the Public Works Department the ability to remove trees that we identify as being in imminent danger of falling immediately upon discovery as part of an emergency. We, 2 weeks ago, tracked 5 trees that we thought were in imminent need of removal. Crews removed 3 of them on a Friday and 2 of them, or 1 of them on a Monday. The 5th tree that we've identified will need to go out to a contractor under a purchase order because that tree is beyond the skill level and equipment level of our Public Works employees for removal along right-of-way. The local state of emergency will also assist Cal OES and FEMA to continue the permitting and approval process for this program, allowing us to get in with our contractor and remove these trees and treat these trees en masse. So this urgency resolution does 2 things. Gives us the ability to remove the one-off trees immediately. It also assists
state and federal government in their ability to process the permits and approval that allow us to remove these en masse. Questions?
You said that that this allows us to remove immediate danger trees. I believe that I mean, we can do that anyhow, but it does allow us to, even though that we're footing the bill for it, it does allow us an opportunity to get that funding to come back to us through the program once it's approved. Okay?
Yes, if we track our work properly, we track our purchase orders properly, the local state of emergency allows us to get this work done without going through a public bid process, so that we can do it immediately. And it would also allow us, if we track properly, reimbursement under the hazard tree program.
All right.
And you'll notice that what we have handed out to the board is a red line markup as well as a final copy of the resolution. These changes were suggested to us resulting from a meeting that Supervisor Edson, myself, and Mr. Seberg attended yesterday with Calaveras and FEMA.
Mr. Krovis, from what you said, from what I understand, this activity is reimbursable by FEMA funds under the current program regarding the Butte fire. Is that correct?
If we do the work correctly and track it correctly, yes.
And we receive direction and instruction how to do this. Is that correct?
To the extent feasible, yes.
I was doing good till feasible. Tell me, where's our area of concern?
My area of concern mostly lies with the ability of Public Works to properly track the work that our employees do in relation to this.
And we've got direction from OES so we can make sure that we have our submittals in accordance to what the guidelines are with FEMA and OES. I know that's a difficult question, but obviously it's one that we need to address immediately.
This is a tough answer. And the only reason it's a tough answer is that both Cal OES and FEMA are very, very careful about giving direction to a local agency. They try to provide program guidelines and circulars that contain information about how to execute these programs. We're working in a little bit of a new area in that there's been some difficulty in getting permitting for the removal of the trees on private lands that impact county roads. And this is not unique to Calaveras County. This is also happening to Lake County. They are going through the same or similar process. So when I say to the extent feasible, it's based upon our knowledge of these programs, what's reimbursable, and what information has been provided to us by Cal OES and FEMA. There is never a certain promise from them that says if you do A, then B will occur. So I would feel less than confident in giving you a guarantee in public that we will get reimbursed for these emergency trees that we identify, the one-offs. I know we will be able to get reimbursement for the massive amount of trees that we have to move, and our numbers are in excess of 8,300 right now. And so if necessary for us to internally fund out of Public Works, Roads and Bridges funds, the removal of these trees that are eminently projected to fall onto our right-of-way, then I feel like that's well worth the risk.
Do you feel you have sufficient resources to get this task accomplished?
As I said, the trees that Public Works can take care of ourselves and bring the logs here to Government Center and treat, yes. They're very busy right now. I've had 2 crews fully deployed this weekend, so they haven't had a day off in a little while. It's going to remain this way until we can recover and repair damage and other emergencies that have occurred immediately prior to the storm and then during the storm. And I can give you a report on those. The only part where I feel like I may not have sufficient staff and support is for those trees that we identify as being an immediate threat that are beyond our skill level or our equipment level, where we will have to go out to local fallers or local tree removal companies.
Do we have the availability to those type of contractors, noting that most of the contractors are busy with the tree mortality? That would be my concern, because we are in an emergency situation.
We have reached out to the ones that are known to us, and we've gotten responses with estimated prices. So, yes.
Good. Thank you.
I would like to comment on that too. Actually, I still think that we're understaffed on the issue. We should have an expert in the industry when it comes to the timber industry in general, because it's a little different than roads and bridges, and so as a matter of fact, it's kind of like a whole different language. In fact, especially when you're dealing with the OES and FEMA. I believe that OES and FEMA have done a really good job for us. I also believe that under the circumstances, our Public Works has done a really great job for us. But it's been a challenge on both sides. So, our meeting yesterday with them, I think was good, and I think that out of that, this resolution here, our proclamation, is going to move us forward.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions from the board?
I have a question. So you mentioned, some concerns about being able to track this. I'm assuming the time and the supplies and all of that. Do you feel comfortable with the staff or resources you have to be able to track this kind of information? Because I know that all goes towards reimbursement.
Yes, I do. However, experience from some occurrences and some staffing work that we did last fall that turned out after the fact to not be reimbursable came as news to me. So that is my hesitation, is that I am not 100% conversant with all of the details, and I'm not sure that anybody is. So that's the only reason I'm hesitating. Supervisor Fonte was saying that I'm 100% convinced that any work that we do in removal of emergency trees under this local state of emergency will be fully reimbursed.
But as far as the tracking go, the auditor's office has sent out very detailed instructions on how to track those costs. So if those costs are tracked according to those instructions, then at least we will have captured them as FEMA and Cal OES need to have them, so that if they are deemed reimbursable, the supporting documentation is there. Okay.
And I'm 100% confident in our ability to provide that documentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, so during the whole event, there was a lot of things going on. And so we have a process in the county for tracking costs and our purchasing program and that sort of thing. Then OES comes in and they have their process, and then FEMA comes in and they have their process. So when a department is used to operating under a guideline within the county, and then they have another guideline that comes in the middle of a disaster or just thereafter, and then the third one comes in, sometimes I think it can get a little confusing, especially because FEMA, they have their own language, basically. And so, I think it was probably a challenge to quite a few departments. And so we're pretty square right now think we can move forward. I'm confident that this resolution here will give us that ability and to move forward in the quickest, immediate fashion, because we do have a very serious, imminent danger when it comes to these burned trees, and soon to come also with the tree mortality issue. So, we just need to get ourselves prepared for that. And this one here, I believe, will take care of burned trees.
CEO Ryan, is there a procedure or something that keeps the board notified of any curveballs, if you will, that we may see in this process? We have to learn from our mistakes, if you will. I know we had an issue with the Inspector General, and if we can see those problems prior and handle those immediately.
I think we tried to do that through the monthly, what was weekly, or not weekly, board meeting updates. Now that we're doing once a month, we told the board regarding as you recall, the OIG, that the audit was coming in, that the results was coming. The chair was informed and was copied on that. He said it on the tail end of a conference call with the OIG. So we try and bring those items forward during those Butte Fire updates.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any public comments?
Thank you for your good work on this and moving pretty quickly. There was a problem with federal regulations, environmental regulations, and for historical things that have to be done before reimbursement for work. And I think that related to the bug trees, but maybe not the burnt trees. So I think we probably want to confirm that the federal regulations do not pertain to this activity. Also, I notice in the resolution there's no scope of what's involved. It could be $1 million, it could be $1 billion, whatever. I'm not sure if scope is required. Maybe it's not. In 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th paragraph down, we say pursuant to section such and such of the Calaveras County Code, the Director of Emergency Services has proclaimed a local state of emergency throughout Calaveras County. Okay, no problem with that. And then the next paragraph we say the Chair of the Board of Supervisors shall be the Director of Emergency Services in Calaveras County. Well, shouldn't that be is? And shouldn't it, if he's the Director of Emergency Services, it wouldn't be a shall be, it is. He proclaimed that. If he wasn't Director of Emergency Services, then the shall be would be appropriate, but then the other paragraph would be kind of meaningless. In the next paragraph, the Calaveras County Director of Emergency Services does believe that these conditions will be present. The Board of Supervisors does desire to ratify the proclamation, thank you, of the existence of a local emergency. Okay, does believe that these conditions will be present. Wouldn't that be, these conditions are present? We have a condition that exists, and not that it will be, it is. I don't want to be nitpicking on it, but it seemed like that would make it clear and make a better proclamation. Thank you.
Very good, Alan. Any other public comments?
Marty Crane. I appreciate that we don't have a Director of Emergency Services and that we need to have one, and that we're making that the Chair of the Board of Supervisors. But we also have a lot of expertise in the county, and I'm hoping that there will be a recognition that the chair won't always be someone who has that expertise, and that we will reach out and value that expertise. Thank you.
Any other public comments? All right. Board comments? I'd like to recognize what Al said, actually. In this particular instance, I think it makes sense. In this case, under 2.72.010, Board Supervisor, Chair of the Board of Supervisors is. I'd like to change the changed revised resolution to reflect that, and also in where Al says does believe that these conditions will be present, and I think he is absolutely correct. They are and will be present, which means that we are in a dire situation where there is imminent danger. Very good, Al. And so with this resolution, if the board is okay, hopefully we'll get them to pass it. I would like to add those on the revised, when I read it, on the revised resolution so that we can move this thing forward.
So I apologize for being late. I had a prior commitment that was scheduled before this meeting was scheduled, so I thought I could get it done before, but I didn't. But it's a very important proclamation, and I agree as long as the county council is okay with those changes. Okay. No problem. Okay.
Question, Mr. Chair. Just so I understand this correctly,
Read the final one.
it will be, whereas the chair of the Board of Supervisors shall be the Director of Emergency Service in Calaveras County, and Mr. Segala made reference to the word shall and is.
Shall be would become is.
Okay, that, we've got that correction in there? Is that a correction that you're suggesting? Okay.
So that means currently. So it is what it is. Right? So if
I'll make a motion to approve with the changes.
you want me to read it?
No.
I still have to read it.
You don't have to.
I do, because we have this is the original, and we have the revised, and the public gets to know about the revised. They haven't heard.
I don't think we have to. There's no law that says we have to.
Sure. But I think the public.
But if you'd like to read it, then
Well, I think the public deserves that opportunity to hear the.
Would you like me to read it and just read the paragraphs that have changes?
That would be great.
Okay. So the resolution that's in the packet.
I do.
The last two sections of the resolution that begin, therefore, be it resolved that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors does hereby ratify the October 18, 2016 declaration of a local state of emergency in Calaveras County as the result of hazardous trees that were killed or mortally injured as a result of the September 9, 2015 Butte fire located on public and private property along county roads, and the severe weather that is expected to occur during the upcoming winter weather season may cause harm to the traveling public. Right. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the State Director of the Office of Emergency Services.
So what I'll do now is just read the whole thing through as.
We don't need to do that, though.
Yeah, I do.
I already made a motion.
Okay. So your motion is duly noted.
So could I have a second?
I think you should read it.
But she just read it.
Didn't read the whole thing.
Didn't read the whole thing.
Well, I read the part that had the
We've already
changes.
wasted enough time where he could have already got it done.
Okay. Thank you.
It'd only take a moment.
So this is resolution number ID number 2412. Resolution declaring a local state of emergency for the removal of hazardous trees caused by the Butte Fire with the imminent threat of severe winter weather. Whereas on September 10th, 2015, the County of Calaveras found that due to the Butte Fire, a condition of extreme peril to life and property does currently exist in Calaveras County during the period beginning on September 9th, 2015, and whereas the Butte Fire killed or mortally injured trees that are located within or adjacent to the county-owned and maintained rights-of-way, and whereas delays to the hazardous tree removal program that are beyond the control of the county have occurred, thus subjecting the traveling public to an imminent threat from falling trees or limbs due to severe weather during the upcoming winter weather season. And whereas Section 2.72.060 of the Calaveras County Code empowers the Board of Supervisors to proclaim the existence or threatened existence of a local emergency when said county is affected or likely to be affected by a public calamity. And whereas pursuant to Section 2.72.010 ET SEQ of the Calaveras County Code, the Director of Emergency Services has proclaimed a local state of emergency throughout Calaveras County. And whereas the Chair of Board of Supervisors is the Director of Emergency Services in the Calaveras County. And whereas the Calaveras County Director of Emergency Services does believe that these conditions are and will be present, the Board of Supervisors does desire to ratify the proclamation of the existence of a local emergency. Therefore, be it resolved that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors does hereby ratify the October 18, 2016 declaration of local emergency in Calaveras County as a result of hazardous trees that were killed or mortally injured as a result of the September 9th, 2015 Butte Fire located on public and private property along county roads, and the severe weather that is expected to occur during the upcoming winter weather season may cause harm to the traveling public. Be it further ordered that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the State Director of the Office of Emergency Services. So I have a motion by Supervisor Wright. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Supervisor Olvera. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So it's 5-0. Thank you. Next on the regular agenda, Diane?
Item 2 is from Human Resources to approve changes to the job description for the County Administrative Officer.
Judy Hawkins, Human Resources and Risk Director. As directed by the Board of Supervisors, the Human Resources Department has reviewed the current job description for the County Administrative Officer. The job description has not been revised since at least 2007. We could not find a date as the last revision. The only thing I could find was the last time that the job description was saved into the system was 2007. And so we went out and reviewed job descriptions from other counties, their minimum qualifications, and revised our job description to reflect current job duties and meet the qualifications of those counties around us. And I attached a marked up copy and then a clean copy of the job description.
Do you have any comments from the board?
No, just thank you for doing it. I appreciate it. You did it quickly, too.
Well, I have to thank my staff. My staff jumped on it right away.
Who in your staff jumped on it right away?
Deborah Showman,
Well, then she should be commended.
and she is.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, do I have any public comments?
Allen Gamma Taxpayer Association again, and I want to thank the Department of Human Services for really excellent work. There's a couple of items that we might consider. we're getting close to a time where we're changing Board of Supervisors, and it might be wise to allow the new board to have some say on what these qualifications would be. There's two things that could be considered by a new board. One of them would be if there should be a requirement that the new CAO would have knowledge of the U.S. Constitution. This item has come up before, and it seems wise that those taking the oath to uphold the Constitution be familiar with it and understand it. And that could be under the educational requirements. There's some other things that have to do with structure of the board and its relationship to the department heads and the CAO. In the line organization, the CAO reports to the board sets policy, and the board can replace the CAO and approve who and hire the CAO. So it's total control of the board has of the CAO. When it comes to department heads, if we bypass the CAO and provide control from the Board of Supervisors to the department heads, either in approving their appointment or suggesting their termination or anything like that, then you undermine the line organization chain of command, and it could make it difficult for the CAO to be able to communicate and act with the appointed department heads. Now, this does not apply to elected department heads. It's a whole different situation. The board does not have any authority over the elected department heads.
30 seconds.
And that's the main thing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Al. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. But I would go one step further and say that even our electeds have to play nice in the sandbox with everybody else, which I believe they do, and which means that the CAO is the one that everyone gathers around and deals with. And I'm hoping, Shirley, that you had a lot of input on this, and that we take it to heart. And I did notice one typo. Trying to see where it is. It's on the second page. I believe that's the second page. Yeah. It says, provides for the investigation and resolution of complaints regarding the administration of and services provided, past tense, provided by county government. Anyway, other than that, good job. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments?
Just real quickly, this is a job description of what minimum qualifications and the duties are. The relationship of the Office of the CAO is spelled out in county code and government code, and that relationship with the Board of Supervisors. So, and while some counties have county executive officers who have the authority to hire and fire appointed department heads, in our county it's always been a CAO. With though the appointed department heads report to the CAO, the ability to hire and fire lies with the board. But that's written in our county code, and there's also government code regarding the structure, organizational structure of the responsibility of the board and the responsibility of a CAO or CEO.
One other thing also that Mr. Segala brought up, and that is letting this languish a little bit until the new board is actually sworn in. We have to have this straightened out before we can start the recruitment process, correct? And so that's why this has to be done now. That doesn't preclude the new board from saying, hey, we would like to change something going forward. But the recruitment for a CAO right now is not an easy process. We're already hearing that there aren't a lot of them available. And we shouldn't rest on our laurels waiting for that to happen. But who knows, a new majority may want something different on this.
Yes, once, to start a recruitment process, we do have to have the job description updated, because if we have already started the recruitment process and we change the job description, then we have to start all over again.
Right. So a good example is building official. You know, we've been after a building official for how long now? Quite a long
8
time.
months.
Okay, so and a CAO is going to be every bit as hard, I believe, to find. So, you know, we're looking at recruitment of maybe, who knows, 6 months. It is in the best interest of the county, really, to start that process as quickly as possible.
I agree.
Okay. Any other public comments? Board?
No, I move to approve.
Yes, we have a motion by Supervisor Kearney,
I'll second.
second by Supervisor Ponce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's it.
Once again, thank you and your staff for doing this so promptly.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That
Judy.
was quick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have, that's the conclusion of our special meeting. Would you like to say something?
Just wanted to remind the board that I will be out of the country for the next 2 weeks, and that Brian Moss will be overseeing the administrative office and sitting with the board on the board meeting on the 25th. I will return to the office on November 3rd.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Have fun, Shirley.
I hope to.
Up or down in a rainy, cold cut.
I know, for somebody who loves warm weather, this is going to be a change of pace.
Yeah. Well, have fun.
Yeah, too.
All right. So that concludes our board meeting for today. Thank you. Adjourned.
Hey, Jeff, that's